Ah, fresh PCBs, new faceplates, you know what this means, a build video. Today we were going to assemble some panel lights. If you haven't seen the video where I prototyped this module, link in the description below. First, let's look at the LED we will be using. All LEDs have an anode and cathode, with the current flowing from positive anode to the negative cathode. These need to be in the right orientation on the board, otherwise current won't flow and the module won't work. The cathode on these LEDs are marked by a small notch. If you are using different LEDs in your build, see the datasheet for those lamps and for their marking system. Now if we look at the PCB, this is how it's laid out with the orientation of the anode and cathode for all the LEDs. Two sets of pads are available depending on the size of the LEDs used. Today we're going to use the smaller pads. I'm going to build 3 modules at once, but they are sold individually. A soldering iron with a fine tip is recommended for this work. As always, when I solder surface mount, I get some solder on one of the pads, get it hot again, and slide the part into it. Then solder the opposite side of the part. I'm sure to be skewered by the solder police in the comments, but this has always worked for me. Once one LED is in, just do the same thing for the remaining 8, being mindful that the orientation changes with each LED. With the surface mount out of the way, through-hole parts can now be installed. Let's start with the power connector. This part, like most of the rest, goes on the underside from the LEDs. Next is the diode D1. It's a 1N4007 polarity protection diode. Note the silver band on the diode matches the white band on the silkscreen. Followed by R3, a 30 ohm, 1/2 watt current limiting resistor. This is the proper value for the LEDs included in the kit. If you're using different LEDs, a different resistor may need to be chosen. With that installed, R2, the 1 kilo ohm resistor, is put in place. Then the two 3904 transistors can go in. Match the curved side of the transistor to the curved side of the silkscreen. The final part on the back is a 5.1 volt Zener diode. The arrow on the silkscreen points to the black band on the diode. The last soldered component, a 1 mega ohm potentiometer, goes on the top with the LEDs. Now it's time to test the module and fix any mistakes before mounting the cover. A current limiting power supply is always recommended. These are much brighter in person. The studio lights really wash them out on camera. Next, the last thing to do is install the cover plate. First, set the 2 standoffs on the board over the cover plate mounting holes. Place the cover on top of these, then drop in the screws. Holding the screws in place, add the lock washers and then the nuts from the underside. Use a screwdriver and a pair of pliers to secure. The final part is the knob, which just drops on, but due to tolerances in manufacturing, sometimes these knobs are loose. The solution to that is just add a dab of hot glue before installing. The knob is secure and should be removable with a bit of force if the need arises. Now all that's left to do is mount the module in your rack, and when the sun goes down, enjoy it. Thanks for watching.